documentary I've chosen to dissect today, Birth Control Your Own Adventure by Sindha Agha, is a 2018 short which details the filmmaker's experience with endometriosis, following her progression through various forms of birth control methods through her narration, and sparking questions concerning not just how people with her condition suffer inherently, but how they are made to suffer more than necessary because of the almost careless way they are treated by the medical community. Straight up, the mode of the film can be identified as an experimental documentary due to its unconventional and contemporary method of presenting the content of endometriosis, as this content may be slightly off-putting to most viewers due to the inherent unpleasant imagery, such as images of blood and human female uterus and so forth. Sindha cleverly avoids eliciting disgust by using heavy symbolism instead, crushing red tissue paper instead to symbolize pain, or portraying an IUD made from craft materials instead of a real IUD, and using various other artistic replacements. Sindha's quirky, playful contemporary style allows more audiences to digest the subject matter and to thus raises more awareness. Repetition of a clip showing the OBGYN slapping on her gloves and having a computerized robotic voice signals how cold and unfeeling her medical practitioner has been, and thus calls out the medical community for their lack of empathy to endometriosis sufferers. By also choosing to stay within a very digestible length of 5 minutes, her audience is widened, as according to the BBC, the contemporary time-poor audience is far more likely to watch shorter videos compared to long ones. Also, the documentary is performative in mode as well, as the filmmaker exudes an expressive engagement with an issue, in this case being the issue of the subpar treatment of women suffering this condition and her very own issue with dealing with her identity through her troubles with endometriosis and the effects of the medication. By speaking with a very personalized, subjective language, such as, "I feel like my insides is like boiling soup," and "my skeleton is a jumble of noodles," Sindha inspires a very original and provoking imagery that will remind audiences that she is a real person telling her life story. In short, her short, snappy remarks, often shot through with dark humor, highlights and ignites questions, especially near the end of the film, where she raises the fact that men would not stand for the quality of the treatment these women receive, so why should women stand up for it? In this case, a very hot contemporary issue has been raised through subtle stylistic choices, highlighting, for lack of a better term, just how fucked up status quo is. The resulting documentary triggers surprise and shock in society, sparking response from a real-life OBGYN, Dr. Andrew Cook, who posted an online article lamenting the medical community's lack of medical community's subpar efforts to assist endometriosis sufferers. Therefore, Sindha's powerful story, which definitely triggered the desired societal consequences, is already starting to effect change within society. By using short anecdotal accounts as narrative and using sound and visuals very expressively and artistically, she represents sufferers as an individual rather than another faceless statistic. She avoids quoting statistics and instead uses her own story, thus carrying a stronger message to a wider audience that audiences can relate to, instead of going with the cold clinical documentaries as so many documentaries have been made before. Thus, Sindha optimizes driving the message to a wider audience more deeply by marrying the performative and experimental modes, using the experimental documentary style to create a strong performative voice. In conclusion, despite creating a film that focuses upon themes of feminism and health, by utilizing a hybrid performance and experimental mode and using eclectic stylistic choices, Sindha is able to create a unique, one-of-a-kind film that drives a strong, tricking message.